Before we dive in, if you could just take a quick moment to subscribe, turn on that notification bell, give this a like, and leave a comment. It really, really helps support the channel. Okay, so let's talk about the Louvre. When you think of the Louvre in Paris, you're thinking of more than just a museum, right? It's like a vault of human history holding some of our absolute greatest treasures. But, that kind of fame, it's also made it a legendary target. Today, we are unpacking the incredible, true stories of the heist that completely shocked the world.
I mean, just think about that question. It sounds like something straight out of a Hollywood movie, doesn't it? But it's real. It actually happened. How on earth does one single person just walk out of one of the most famous museums on the planet with its most famous painting? This one single, incredibly bold act really sets the stage for our entire story. A story of cunning, of consequence, and of the never-ending battle to protect our shared history.
So, here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to kick things off with that classic, legendary heist of the Mona Lisa. Then we'll rocket forward over a century to a super high-tech smash and grab job. After that, we'll break down the whole cat and mouse game of museum security. And finally, we'll get into why stealing a piece of art is so much more than just a simple crime. All right, let's get into part one, the man who stole Mona. And listen, this isn't just a theft. This is the event that took a masterpiece and turned it into a global phenomenon. It's a story that's all about its shocking simplicity and the very unlikely guy who was at the center of it all. So, who was he? Meet Vincenzo Peruggia. Now, this guy wasn't some criminal mastermind. He wasn't the head of some international art theft ring. He was an Italian handyman who had, get this, actually worked at the Louvre. And that right there, that was his superpower. He knew the layout, he knew the guards' routines, he knew the museum's secrets from the inside. So how did he pull it off? The plan was just unbelievably bold in its simplicity. First, he literally just hid in a supply closet and stayed there overnight. The next morning, when the museum was closed and quiet, he slipped out, lifted the painting right off the wall, took it out of its big, heavy frame, and tucked it under his white worker's coat. And then he just walked right out the front door. It actually took 2 whole years before he was finally caught trying to sell it in Florence. He claimed his motive was patriotic, that he just wanted to return the painting to its real home, Italy. And here is the biggest irony of this whole story. Peruggia's crime is what made the Mona Lisa a household name. Before the theft, yeah, it was a respected painting from the Renaissance. But after it was stolen and then found, it became a global sensation. The story gave it this mystery, this legend status that no artist could have ever painted. Okay, now let's hit the fast forward button. Way forward. Over a century, in fact. We're leaving the quiet simplicity of 1911 and jumping into the loud, violent precision of a totally modern heist. This next robbery could not be more different, and it really shows you just how much the world of art crime has changed. This time, the target wasn't a painting. It was something just as symbolic, though, the French crown jewels. To be specific, the absolutely stunning crown of Empress Eugenie, Napoleon III's wife. This wasn't just about grabbing something valuable. This was a direct assault on the history of France. And unlike Peruggia's solo act, this was a team. A whole crew of thieves, disguised as workers, pulled off a plan that was timed down to the second. They knew exactly where they were going, smashing the reinforced display cases to get to the jewels. The whole thing, from the moment they entered to their getaway on motorcycles,
took less than 4 minutes. It was all about speed, planning, and just pure nerve. And if you want to understand the scale of what was lost in those few minutes, just look at this. Over 1,300 diamonds, 50 emeralds. The material value alone is just staggering, and it was all taken in less time than it takes to make a cup of tea. Just a devastatingly effective robbery. So, okay, we have two completely different heists, right? And this brings us to a really crucial part of our story, the evolution of crime, and that constant, endless race for security to stay one step ahead. I mean, how does a place like the Louvre even try to defend itself against all this? When you put them side by side, the contrast is just stark. You've got Vincenzo Perugia, a lone wolf, supposedly driven by patriotism, with a really simple, almost opportunistic plan. And in the end, the painting was fully recovered. Then you have the 2025 heist, a professional team driven by pure profit, using a sophisticated, high-tech plan. And the outcome? Tragically, only a partial recovery was ever made. As you can imagine, museums have had to turn themselves into fortresses in response. The Louvre has put in layers upon layers of defense. We're talking about the most advanced CCTV you can imagine, motion sensors that can pick up the slightest movement, reinforced glass, complex alarm systems, and maybe most importantly, way more training for the staff on the ground. But this right here is the key. Despite all the fancy gadgets and technology, the single most powerful security tool is still the human eye and the human brain. A security chief at the Louvre once said that technology is great, but absolutely nothing replaces a well-trained staff member who can spot behavior that just feels wrong. It's human intelligence fighting back against criminal intelligence. And all of this leads us to our final section. And honestly, it's the whole point. We've talked a lot about the how, but now we need to talk about the why. Why do these crimes hit us so hard? Because what's being stolen is so much more valuable than just canvas and paint, or gold and jewels. Here's the bottom line. Art theft isn't just a crime against a building or an owner. It's a crime against every single one of us. These items, they're pieces of our shared human story. They connect us to our past, they connect us to each other. So when one is stolen, a page is literally ripped out of our collective memory. I think this quote from Dr. Lefebvre, who is an expert on art crime, just says it perfectly. You're not just taking something that's worth a lot of money, you are stealing the history that it represents, the culture that created it, and the human emotion that it inspires in millions of people. It's an attack on our shared civilization. And because these treasures are so incredibly valuable, they almost never stay in one place. Stolen art gets moved across borders fast, disappearing into this huge international black market. Trying to get them back requires a massive, coordinated global effort between police forces, agencies like Interpol. Everyone has to work together. Cooperation is really the only way. So we're left with this lingering question. This game of cat and mouse, it never really stops. Thieves get smarter, security gets better. But in this constant race between technology and human ingenuity, can our shared heritage, our priceless treasures, ever be truly 100% safe? It's a question that museums around the world have to ask themselves every single day. What do you think? Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, like, and leave a comment to support the channel.